So I'm going to go ahead and read the email.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, listener, for sending this to us. Thank you for your vulnerability. We really appreciate you, and thank you for listening to our podcast. Okay, here we go. Hi, I just started listening to your podcast. I'm going through extreme anxiety and depression. I came off my medication because I did not want to rely on medication, and I've been working to get better on my own, but I feel that a lot of my anxiety and depression is coming from my marriage. Everything you have said in your first 2 episodes is exactly what I feel, but I think that it is my husband's personality. I got pregnant at 21 after only knowing him for 3 months, so our relationship has never been ideal or perfect. We were raised totally different, have different goals, have different love languages. We had the separation divorce talk more times than I can remember in the last 11 years together, and I think it dies down because I know financially I could never do it on my own, and I don't want to ruin my children's life, and I do love my husband and don't want to see him struggle or hurt, so I stay. Is it fair to ask him to change his whole lifestyle and personality for me? Don't get me wrong, we have grown in love with the faults that we had, but I am in an extremely bad place mentally with my anxiety and depression, and he hits all of the triggers. I feel so bad saying it because your episodes I've been listening to taught me to see it in a different perspective, and I've only been thinking about me, and not how he may be feeling. With my anxiety, everything is magnified, and there is no communication. We are going to be going to marriage counseling, but I'm also in counseling for my own personal struggles right now. He is a hard worker and will work 12-hour days to make money to pay bills for our family, and he is the best father to our kids. I know he is not a bad person, but the intimacy connection between us is just not there anymore. When I have these talks with him, I know he feels so bad, but I think the daily routine gets in the way, and whatever we try to do to work on us dies down. We have 2 kids, 10 and 4, so after working long hours and getting them fed, showered, in bed, we are both exhausted. I don't need much. A rub on the leg would show me that I'm wanted, but it's usually both of us go to our phones and turn the other way before bed. I'm usually the one to initiate intimacy, and most of the time he is tired from work or does not feel good, which makes me feel less than crappy. Even when we fight, we don't, because he will usually walk away because he does not want to. We will go days without talking, and I'll be the first to apologize. I do not blame him for this. His mom and dad divorced when he was younger, and he has just not had the easiest childhood. I really want to make this work, but I need to know I'm loved and wanted. The listener.
Yeah, I mean, what a brave, reaching out. I mean, just right off the bat, what I feel is like, wow, these are like 2 people who are really trying.
Yes.
In their own ways. Like I heard that just throughout. And I really loved how she acknowledged some of his strengths. And, it's just, there's a lot going on, right?
The first thing that stuck out to me was they got pregnant young, early on in their relationship, and things got real before our brains are even fully developed. Brains are fully developed when a male's around 27, 28. For a female, it's around 24. And so just the transition they going through without even being married or having a child, that's already significant, that early adulthood changes in our brain. Not to mention now you're kind of just thrown in and you're trying to make it work.
Yeah. I mean, one thing I always want to do with these emails is also like set up the context of like, even though there was a lot of information, we have like sort of a limited amount of really understanding what's going on with these 2 particular people. But hopefully what we can do is we can look at broad trends, and hopefully we can help you with some insight. And so wonderful that this person said like, look, I'm doing my individual work. I'm already starting with that. And we're going to get into some couples therapy. So first of all, right on, like you're making the right decisions to give yourself, the best chance. Definitely what Tara said though is a huge factor, is that you guys have really become adults together, in the midst of like getting a crash course in in becoming parents where all of your needs sort of go down to the bottom of the heap. So that's a huge part of the picture right there.
Well, and it feels like, I don't know, I could be wrong, but it feels like both of these individuals are very alone in their suffering, because it sounds like he's more avoiding, doesn't engage in conflict because his parents got divorced and he had a rough childhood. And then there'll be days without talking. And then it sounds like our listener who wrote this email is really struggling with anxiety and depression. And I deal with that. I have dealt with that and continue to deal with that. And I know that if I don't reach out to you and if you're not supporting me, I'm super alone in it and it's unbearable. So when this listener said magnified, absolutely, because if you guys don't have that ability to communicate around vulnerable things, you're going to feel alone in it. So I feel like there's so many places to start.